Taking off in 5, 4, 3, deuce. Well, that was underwhelming. Fuck. This works like 50% of the time. 60% of the time, it works every time. Is that the Anchorman joint?
Was that from Anchorman?
Yeah, that was from Anchorman.
I think Anchorman's overrated.
You're a racist.
Wasn't that good of a movie?
It was a great
Wasn't
movie.
that funny?
Are you fucking...
I've seen
I
it
don't even want to argue
many
with you right
times.
now.
Wasn't that good?
Welcome to the Faye Podcast. It's your boy Tio, as you know.
It's your boy O Rain, no name, no games, no gimmicks.
Yo, it's my fucking Faye Podcast. You want to stop shop for everything TV, media, and film related, along with any of the goddamn thing you want to talk about. Coming to you live, direct, Proof Concept Studios. What the fuck is up? What is up? Yo, low energy in the studio today. What the fuck?
Yeah, we're doing a show a little bit later.
Jesus, later
on the weekday than we usually record. We usually do Sundays. You know, when you've just mostly been chilling all day.
You're very
rested.
loose with the term usually. I think we haven't hit usually
around Saturdays or Sunday weekend shows.
Yeah,
but like midweek. Well, not midweek. It's Tuesday. We're at the beginning of the week. But this is a later episode.
Midweek. I think is the idea.
We're all in our 30s. Listen, this is
a struggle.
I do not have the energy I had 4 hours ago.
Damn, dude. What time do you go to sleep, man?
Sleep.
You see, this is what your problem is. What the fuck?
this is the problem. Yeah. I've been trying to like train myself to be like, all right, I'm gonna be in fucking bed by like 10:30, which is late. It's a lot late, like a lot later than like
10:30's that.
I think a lot of people are probably not staying up till 10:30. You know what I mean?
No,
but even then, it's like I know I need to change my sleep habits, right? I need to like start at least reading. I used to do this.
Yeah.
I used to like an hour before bed. Right, here's when I pick up a book.
Yeah,
read myself to sleep.
Yeah.
Now there's so much fucking good shit on TV. It's so hard.
Do you go to sleep in your room or in the living room?
In my room usually.
Okay. Yeah.
I've got a TV in the room, you know.
Yeah.
And then like it's so easy to just be like one more episode. Oh, that show was so good. That episode ended on like a cliffhanger. Yeah. I should just be like, you know what, the book is better. Yeah,
you watch a lot of reality TV, so I don't really subscribe.
No, I don't. I watch one reality TV show.
I watch 15 different reality TV shows. You watch The Challenge. You watch Love Island.
Those are the only two.
You watch a little Love is Blind.
No, I don't.
You do. A little bit.
No, I don't. I watch 2 reality TV shows. He's like, you watch a ton of reality.
What did 50 say? Just a little bit.
No.
Wait, was that even 50? I don't even know if that was
reality TV. Reality TV's. I do like competition TV, which is like, more like it is reality, but I don't do dating shows. I'm not watching like The Bachelor, The Bachelorette, other than Love Island. But Love Island's a little bit different.
Here's how you try to justify anything.
Here's why.
How, in what way is Love Island
So it's not like I'm watching The Bachelor, right? Where it's just like
same shit.
Love Island, I will admit, is a little bit more gimmicky, and I watch specifically UK Love Island because they have the funny little accents. Okay. So it adds to the element of like entertainment, where I'm not going to watch like The Bachelor or The Bachelorette.
So
or,
like, if they put The Bachelor in UK, you'd be like, oh, this makes sense now.
Bachelor. Yeah. The Bachelor is back. I'm bringing some.
Yeah, I don't even know what accent that is.
That was South London.
South London.
Yes.
Okay. All
right. Made that shit up. Welcome back. That's why UK Love Island's so good, because the host, he's so funny and they're super posh and British. That's why
it's not even a host. It's just like the voiceover.
Yeah,
the host is different. Yeah. I think reading before bed. I don't actually like reading before bed because reading, especially when I'm tired, definitely puts me to sleep. So I actually want to like comprehend what I'm reading. So I tried reading before bed and it just didn't work. I would literally start reading a page and then before I even got to the bottom of that page, I'm already out like light. So I like to carve out some time during the day, some days, in order to read. So that's out. What I usually tend to do is I start.
Got something in your mouth there?
Yeah, I got fucking hair.
Made the show.
Why'd you put that camera on me? God damn. Go away.
He went to
Cut
solo
away.
cam.
Yeah. He zoomed in on my face. Yeah, it's gonna sound weird, but I play a game. I start the morning with a brain game. With brain games, I do Lumosity in the morning, and that just like it tells me where I'm at for the day. Am I firing on all cylinders here, or should I
sluggish?
Yeah, should I just proceed with caution for the day? So I do that to start the day, and then usually how I end the day is by I don't know playing some game on my phone.
But see, like then they say like that's bad for you. That's bad for like you're getting your brain into a sleep ready state, right? Your cell phone's emitting like the blue light. You're stimulating your brain by playing a game, and like you have all of these what are they called? It's like stimulants going on, right? Mm-hmm. And it's like they would say that something like that would be hindering your sleep.
First off,
like sleep fucking scientists. I don't know. the people who study this, they say like limit the amount of blue light, limit the amount of stimuli. Not like reading a book.
To what end?
To the end where you're starting to like sleep training, right? You're training your brain to like slow down, not like cognition or function, but like you're preparing your brain to be your brain and your body to be in like a sleep ready state.
And what does that do for you? Like, what is that?
It helps you go to sleep faster and like get into your REM stage faster.
I don't want to actually have
more smoothly. I'm not gonna say faster, but like it helps you get and stay in like an REM sleep state.
Yep.
It helps you get there faster and stay in that state longer, which is your best state of sleep.
I don't actually have a problem with falling asleep. It's the problem of have I done everything that I need to do before sleep? Like, so for instance, have I brushed my teeth already? Have I locked the doors, set the alarm, do all the like the shutting it down stuff, right? That's what kind of keeps me up. Is if I haven't done those things, then I gotta fucking like drag my groggy ass out of bed and then do those things. But typically speaking, when I'm in bed, sleep just takes me, And my partner, she always gets mad at me because mid conversation,
it goes out.
Yeah,
I don't. Well, sometimes at night my mind just goes crazy, and I just catch myself thinking about like the stupidest things. Like, hey, you ever had that?
I remember you telling me that you were thinking about like, if I was on a sidewalk and I just, a bear came out of nothing. What the fuck are you talking about?
I'll just be in bed like, if the roof collapsed. What is my fastest escape route? Like, do I go through the window?
Why the fuck is that what you're thinking about?
Because you always got to be ready.
10:30 at night.
Because I'm literally laying under. I'm like, let's say you're in bed. I'm laying, looking up at the roof. Like, this motherfucker collapsed. Am I gonna be fast enough to roll out of bed before it like lands on me? And then how do I get out of the house?
I feel like you were in probably like a war in your past life.
Maybe.
You know what I mean? Because you just got a lot of like
always have to be ready.
Pseudo PTSD.
I don't like sitting with my back to the door either, because what if somebody just comes up and slits my throat? That'd be fucking terrible.
Jesus,
you don't think about these things? See, I be in bed thinking about these things at night.
That's even at night. I thought you were mean if you were in the place. I
was be in bed like, what if someone just walks in the room and shoots me 3 times in the chest?
Jesus. Yeah, you might want to. You might want to figure that out. You might want.
That's why I need to read. That's why I need to read more pleasant books.
No, forget the pleasant books, dude. You might want to go talk to somebody.
No, this is like I'd be watching like dumb shit at night. Like again, like you're watching a show, and like I do feel like a lot of the things that you consume at night, like if you're watching a movie, like scary movies or shows or whatever, a lot of the stuff you consume at night is still active in your brain somewhere. A big part of like the whole sleep training thing is like, usually when I'm trying to go to bed, I put on one of two things. It's like Animals at Night. It's like a Netflix special, and then there's Cowboy Bebop, right? I either want like something jazzy with good music and art, or something like very low and like low light, which is why a lot of people gravitate towards like scary movies because a lot of low light. Hopefully you can fall asleep as someone's being murdered.
Yeah. Okay, that was a long way to go to say.
I just want to know, how much gangbanging is there in UK Love Island? Like, who is killing who in that show?
No one's killing anybody. They are recoupling. They're killing,
which is effectively like joining a gang.
Pretty
effectively
much.
Joining a gang. And speaking about being in certain mental states, man. We'd have to mention Angus Cloud. He's an actor who starred in
Euphoria.
Euphoria. It's passed away, man, at 25, man. Fucking young age of 25.
Yeah, to give you a little bit more, so his full name is Connor Angus Cloud Hickey. Let's see, he played Fezco opposite Zendaya in the HBO series Euphoria. Really young dude, just at the very beginning of his career, and like that launched like that opportunity. And before that, I think, as far as I understand about his life, and now granted I don't know much, he was like kind of really, really struggling. Now, granted, young guy, he's only 25 at this point in time, and he's been on Euphoria for what, 2 seasons?
I think it's been, Euphoria's been 2 seasons.
Yeah, and Euphoria came out, what, around like 2020?
2020, I think.
Yeah. So he's been doing like well more recently, but I think before that, like he had he's been struggling. I think he struggled with alcohol or drug addiction or something like that early in his years as well. And his relationship with his father really like helped him like stay on the right track. And more recently, he lost his father. I believe it was a week ago. He lost his father, and since then, that as far as I understand, created like somewhat of a downward spiral for him. And was it yesterday or Sunday?
I believe it was Sunday.
Yeah, it was announced that he had passed away. I think the details are still murky. I don't really know all the details. I think sometimes people do get caught up on knowing all the details, where it's like, oh, I have to know how they died. It's just unfortunate that whatever he was battling, whatever he was struggling with, he wasn't able to, overcome that thing in this life. But yeah, man, like loved his character on Euphoria. Yeah, he was one of the characters like you just root for this guy easily.
100%, especially like the season that I just passed. Yeah, man, there's not too much I can say about this other than it's always really fucking sad when somebody who could otherwise have a tomorrow doesn't. You know what I mean? It's different, I think, when you hear, I think Tony Bennett just passed away, right? Tony Bennett was precisely 8,000 years old. I think, he lived a life that was very full, very varied in terms of I know we feel you, Siri, or whoever the fuck that was.
Was that Siri? Alexa?
It was the fucking. Just Addy, do me a favor. Reach over and hit that on the speaker there.
On the
right speaker.
Right,
yeah, just go ahead and turn it off. Yeah. No, just hit it once. No, hit that once. There you go. You're good.
Can't follow directions for shit.
Hit the button. It's the other button. Long press.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Triple click.
Doing everything that I have not instructed. But yeah, like Tony Bennett passed, and it's just like, this dude was super fucking old. Like, I don't know how I didn't even read how he died. I was just assumed it's natural.
And not to say that anyone dying is like, it's not surprising. But
no.
If someone dies at like 84 years old,
it's like they lived.
Yeah.
They lived,
They had 84 years. That's pretty fucking good.
Yeah.
Since our flesh just starts to rot since the moment we're born. 84 years is pretty good. That's a long
healthy time, right? But when you hear 25, you're not even.
Yeah.
You haven't done anything yet, man. Yeah.
It says here. I don't know what's going on with my mic here. Okay, here we go.
Yeah.
It says, according to the AP, he never acted before. He was walking down the street in New York, and he was cast after just being noticed walking.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
Yeah, he had no formal acting training, and I do think he was like borderline homeless or something like that. Or again, he was like he was struggling in his younger years before he got cast. So this show really like. That and again, from what I understand, his relationship with his father really did like help save his life, because he was battling a lot like drug or alcohol addiction, and then out of nowhere you get cast in his show, this great show, not only as a recurring character, because you can be cast for a few episodes. He became not just a recurring character across 2 seasons, but one of the most liked characters in the entire series.
Yeah, and even outside of like the acting, I think. For even if he never acted in anything again, maybe Euphoria is all he did, right? And that was it. There's just so much else to life, man. There's so many other emotions, feelings, experiences that are so unique and so worthwhile, and that when you pass away that young, it's such a fucking shame, man. Because you still have everything in front of you, and that's why I'm always grateful for having an opportunity to wake up every day, because who the fuck knows what the great beyond is? Nobody really fucking knows. We all pretend as if we do, but we don't. Nobody fucking knows, right? Whether you're religious, not religious, doesn't really matter, right? Like, you don't really actually fucking know what happens after all this shit. So if this is really, like we all always talk about, if this is really all we get, then it's precious. Each day is precious. Each moment is precious. Even though we don't always treat it as such, it is. And when you see somebody who's this young, who doesn't get the chance to continue to experience those experiences, to go through the highs, to go through the lows, and to come out on the other side of it, is a shame, man. But yeah, we definitely appreciated him on Euphoria, and he seemed like a dude that was just good. He seemed like his character. Like he seemed like he wasn't really even playing a character. It seemed like that was just him. He just seemed like a good, willing dude. Maybe a dude who was battling some things, but his nature was just a good person.
Yeah, I feel like he was probably perfect for the role as Fesco, because it was a lot of it was like his just natural being, like the way he was, and it fit that and worked for that character so well. But I imagine over the past 2 seasons while he's been filming Euphoria, you would imagine someone like that, even though they have no formal training, just being around. The cast of Euphoria, there's some really, really, talented people in that cast. Like other people that you see, like, all right, this person, Sydney Sweeney is Zendaya. Who's the guy who's like in line, or he was talks to play Superman. The football. Whatever. I don't know. I forget his name, but he was in the conversation to to play Superman in James Gunn's Superman Legacy. Yeah. So a lot of bubbling young talent. So even though he didn't have any formal training, I'm sure he probably learned and picked up some things along the way. Yeah. And it would have been really interesting to see how his career work turned out. Yeah. Post Euphoria. Fortunately, we're not going to get that opportunity, but whatever. Condolences to his family. That's all you can really say. Condolences to a family. This is one of those really unfortunate things. Yep. When I got the notification, I was like, no fucking way. Yeah.
Because it this again kind of blurs the line between fiction and reality, where it felt like I was watching the show for a second. Where you read that headline, you're like, fucking Fez. Yeah. How they're going to kill him off, and you're just like, hey, this isn't fucking. Yeah, this is real life. This is real life. He's actually passed away.
You kind of hope it's one of those things that's like, oh, someone
fucked up.
Someone got it right. Yeah. And in fact, someone announced this too soon, and it wasn't true.
I distinctly remember checking a couple different articles, because I was like, nah, come on. And again, what made me feel like that wasn't it's like, somebody who's starring in a TV show can't pass away. It was, he's so fucking young. Yeah. And that's just such a shame to me, man. Addy, do me a favor, boost that gain up again, if you remember how I was doing it before the show.
Well, I think it's a little low. I guess to wrap that up.
No, yours.
Yeah. Got it. So, again, full name's Connor Angus Cloud Hickey. So, rest in peace.
Yeah, man. Yeah, talking about some other stuff, man. I did watch Barbie. Have feelings. Did you watch Barbie?
I have not. And just give it to me straight.
How are you not?
I'm not going to.
You're not going. Why?
Watch it in theaters. I'm not going to.
Why?
I have no interest in it.
You don't even know what it's about. How are you have no interest?
I still know that I have no interest enough to spend money to go see it in the theaters. I'll watch it at home.
What movie in theaters right now do you want to watch?
Honestly, there are none. I don't even really care much to watch Oppenheimer. But, I'll go see it, but I don't really care to.
Okay, so when they start coming out with reality TV in 70 millimeter, you'll be.
I don't even watch reality. I literally watch 2 reality. You watch more reality TV.
Like
I'm
what?
Sure you do.
Like what?
What reality TV shows do you watch?
I don't.
No reality TV. You don't watch The Bachelor, The Bachelorette, Love
the
is
only
Blind,
time I really watched,
Survivor,
the only
Amazing
time that
Race.
I really watched reality TV was actually off of your recommendation of watching UK Love Island. 1 season.
That's fair. There are some people who watch endless reality TV.
Can't do it.
Yeah, I can only do those 2. The Challenge I do love. The Challenge is great. I think it's the perfect reality TV show.
So do you remember when I made a joke about him only going to theaters to watch reality TV in 70 millimeters? Yes, that's
yes.
I feel like that was still true.
2 reality TV shows is not a lot.
You watch all of them. If you watch 2 of them, you watch all of them. I don't know.
I'm not one of those people who could ever watch. I know I keep picking on this show, but The Bachelor. I
truly don't. You see, this is what I believe that this is what they call cognitive dissonance, right? It's like you're saying one thing, but you're also saying like the complete like it's like a paradox. Like you're saying, ugh, I don't watch that much reality TV, and I'll go back to The Bachelor.
Do you think 2 shows is a lot?
No. It's actually the main thing that I'm focusing on now is the fact that you keep using The Bachelor as if that's so dramatically different than UK Love Island. That's like saying like somebody who vapes is like, ugh, people who smoke disgust me. And it's like, what the fuck?
I think here's the difference. I think here's the difference. Well, maybe here's the difference for me at least. People who watch shows like The Bachelor and The Bachelorette and blah blah blah, like they really do care about like these people and who they are, like who they end up with. Like, did Joe pick the right girl? Like, I don't give a fuck.
I feel like people feel like that about all reality TV.
Yo, UK Love Island, you cannot care too much. I'm just there for Casa Amor and like wild recouplings. So like when I'm watching it, I know this is all a gimmick. It's just a show. I just want to see who like comes out on top at the end. But like there's some people who watch like these like reality dating shows and they're very serious about it.
Love Island and are very
maybe
invested.
in the UK because to them they don't sound funny. They sound normal.
Why? What does it have to do with the fucking accents? I don't
because
understand.
let's be real, it does. Like in the
What are you
UK,
talking about?
in the UK, they think we sound funny. We think they sound funny.
But I don't think that's why the show is so successful, though, right? Like,
no, it's not. I'm not saying
it's like massively successful in the UK, so it's
absolutely,
not because of the accent.
But for me,
accent.
being like here in America, like if I've tried to watch America, like US Love Island,
Yeah. Then,
fucking boring. No, they sound just like me. I don't want to watch that shit. I want to watch the one where they sound silly.
Why do they sound silly?
Because they do. They just say funny little things. I did try to watch Australia Love Island, and I don't like the Australian accent.
Crikey, mate.
It's just it sounds British, but like with just a twinge of stupidity.
Twinge of stupidity.
Apologies
to all of our Australian listeners. We apologize profusely. So. Yeah, I don't know what the fuck we were talking about, but I'm gonna move on to what. I asked you what you watch. If you watch Barbie, so Barbie was an interesting movie, really interesting movie. And I'll say this: have you watched it, Addie?
Yes, I have.
You have watched. Oh, okay. We
Yes.
can have a little bit of dialogue here. Your mic still sounds low to me. I don't know why.
Yeah, I don't know.
There you go. I'm gonna boost it a bit. I got you. I'm gonna do it from here. All right.
Lower it again.
Say something.
Check.
Yeah, give me more than
Oppenheimer. UK Love Island.
Yo, you are terrible at following.
I am so tired.
Test your mic. He says a
I am
2-letter
so
word.
tired.
Said, yep. Fucking Hank Hill over here. Yep. All right. So Barbie. So I thought it was really an interesting movie for several different reasons. First is when I immediately leaving the theater, I thought to myself, I don't get why everybody's going crazy over this movie. I didn't really understand it. Like, it's not that I didn't understand the movie. I didn't understand why everybody was going crazy over it.
I'll clarify the crazy part. Crazy in a good way, crazy in a bad way. Like, super
both,
excited.
honestly.
Or,
I think people are going crazy in a good way. I think this movie's like doing really, really well.
No, it's doing really well as in ticket sales. But it's starting a lot of conversations online about the movie, like in terms of some themes, ideas, and things like that in the movie, right? And I still I didn't really understand that part of it, let me rephrase that. At first, coming out of the theaters, that's what I thought, and then sitting on it a little bit, I sort of came to the conclusion that it's a great movie because you can read into it whatever the fuck it is you want to read into it. If you just want to watch it because of the bright colors and the name Barbie, okay, you can do that.
Yeah.
If you want to watch it for some sort of intellectual, challenging film that kind of challenges your thoughts, you can find that in it too if you really wanted to. My problem is that it had so much in it that I feel like any sort of coherent message sort of gets lost in the shuffle. There's just too much. There's too much in it. It's like an hour and 50 some odd minutes long.
Not that long.
No, it's not that long,
movie,
but they pack so much into that hour and 54 minutes. And not even in terms of like what actually happens on screen, but like in terms of just like moving from one thing to the other, that it actually moves pretty decently from one thing to the other. But a lot of the things that there's so much, it's very dense as far as
Was there still like
the
for you like
ideas.
a clear like cohesive like message or direction and like good storytelling?
No, not well. Okay, good storytelling, maybe I guess, and I kind of only say that because I'm a fan of Greta Gerwig, you know. And I don't if I didn't know it was Greta Gerwig, I think I might be like, I don't know if this was a great story. So maybe I'm giving it to her based off of that. But the movie itself, I thought it was a little jumbled. Eddie, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree. They really did pack a lot of messaging into it, or at least try to. I agree. The pace of it was fine. Like you did kind of go from one thing to the next. You were able to understand it and everything. I don't really see the big hype about it. Like in terms of like a good movie, it's okay. Like there's nothing like crazy to it. It's pink. It's colorful. It's exactly what a Barbie movie you'd expect it to be. I loved Helen Mirren's narration in it. Like that was that was kind
I
of
thought they kind of
part.
like dropped that like halfway through.
Yeah, it kind of started off for the like first like 20, 30 minutes.
And then it just
then it
didn't
kind
come
of
back, yeah.
picked up here and there towards the end a little bit. But
There was like one comment at the end that I remember.
it was a comment about
Margot Robbie.
Yeah. I look, I enjoyed that part. I thought the narration was pretty funny.
Yeah.
What I kind of was expecting more of, honestly, was comedy. Man, I didn't feel a whole lot of comedy in this.
Or I thought it was actually I thought it was pretty packed with comedy.
Really?
But I think the problem is that I don't think it.
Now, what kind of comedy though? Was it like laugh out loud comedy? Was it like witty, sharp comedy? Was it like
Yeah, I think all the above.
Okay.
And again, this kind of bleeds into what I'm saying about that there was just too much in it. Like
Yeah.
it was doing too many things. In that it was witty at times. It was kind of like almost what I would term as like it wasn't exactly this, but it's the only term that's coming to mind right now. Like kind of like dad joke-ish of
Yes.
like this is I know this is supposed to be funny, but also it's like not funny, and that's kind of what the funny part is.
yeah, like you have to have like, you have to have like, because essentially it's a toy, right? And you have to make those like very obvious like where joke. I'm sure there was wasn't there a scene where like Ken talks about going to the bathroom or something like that, or like I think I saw a clip of it where it's like you have to have those like Ken Barbie doll types of jokes, or Ken probably doesn't.
I think you're referencing when they refer to like
When they're
having
changing, when they're
genitalia and
nude,
things
having
like that.
genitalia.
Yeah,
like,
that was funny.
Yeah, those like
Yeah.
easy, those layup like dad style jokes. But like I'm sure there were some times there was like laugh out loud, and I feel like a lot of it's supposed to be witty too. But at the same time, and I know I haven't seen the movie, but like at the same time,
Very specific opinions.
well, like even without seeing the movie, we already know Barbie's a product, right? So if you have the product and the product already exists and the fan base already exists and like the dollars are there, it's really just, hey, we have a product. We're going to market this product as a film, and the film, it just needs to be like quirky and witty and entertaining and fun, right? Like, and of course
But I
they're
think
going to.
this is a movie that would arguably I would probably if you asked Greta Gerwig or even Noam Baumbach, who's a co-writer on the movie, if you ask them, I think they would say that they view this as much more than that.
Of course. I mean, if I'm the director, I want to load, like I want to put my own spin or my own take on it, right?
Yeah.
And I want to make sure like the messaging is in there and there's a story. I want to do all of that, right? Because you have like a really, really good piece of like you have really good tools to work with, right? If you have Barbie.
I would
But
argue-
at the same time, still a product, and like there is a marketing machine and engine already behind the film before the script even got written.
Yeah, but I think that was kind of like the inside joke that they literally have like they like go to like Mattel, right? Like, and there's like a whole thing about Mattel, like I think it was like, dare I say like self-aware, I guess in that sense. Maybe that's not the best use of that term, but or self-referential,
meta,
yeah, or like kind of like a meta sort of situation. So I think they were really aware of that, and I think that was going to happen regardless. True, but I don't think that the film doesn't feel like it's that. Like even though the bright colors and all that stuff, it feels like sure that's there because it kind of has to be there. It's Barbie, right? But that was like you could have in a way taken Barbie out of it, and it the film kind of still holds up on its own based on its own like the themes and ideas, right?
Yeah.
Which is, I'm not arguing that point. Like it still holds up on its own outside of like the idea of Barbie. Even though it was very focused on the idea of Barbie and Ken and apparently Alan. I didn't know that Alan was.
Yeah,
I still need to look
that
that
was
up.
a fun part of the movie.
Michael Cera did a great job with that.
I would
bit.
agree with you though, man. Like I did have a sense of, you know, they were trying to message, you know, for like, you know, fighting the patriarchy and, you know, have messages of feminism within it, which, you know, before I watched the movie, I was, you know, listening to right wingers just freak out about it. And then when I watched the movie and I was like, man, like, yeah, it's in there, but I have seen other movies, you know, that have, you know, a whole lot better messaging, you know, surrounding those themes. I like,
right wingers are just gonna they're gonna bark at anything. It doesn't. Really
I mean, I get that.
You say the word patriarchy and their heads literally.
I have to think that the folks at like, you know, Fox Corporation or something like that, you know, they had some kind of money in this movie. Because they know that if you create this kind of a, you know, quote unquote backlash against it, people will go out and watch it. Like, there's no way for me to think like they did not have some skin in the game, because they did blow it up for a solid 2 weeks before it came out.
Their skin in the game is controversy. That's their skin in the game, right? So any sort of controversy generates shit for them. You know, think about like Bud Light or fucking. You remember? So that movie was it Sound of Freedom or some shit like that? Is it called?
Yeah.
It's just like yeah. And you know what? All right, I'm gonna go off on a weird tangent. So I think I'm starting to understand the landscape of like why somebody would be like a right winger, right? I think it's because it's easier to paint yourself as a hero, or at least see yourself in the protagonist role, than it is to think that life is a lot more complicated than just that, right? It's so easy. That's why they're, I think, all reacting. I haven't seen this Sound of Freedom, but basically the synopsis is a guy goes somewhere where they're trafficking kids and he saves them. If I have that wrong, Addy, please correct me if I have.
No, that's 100% correct. That's like all it is. And might I add that basically people who work with this guy were basically like, yeah, you did none of this stuff. Like, you glorified.
Is it based on a true story?
Yeah, based on this guy's life or memoir or whatever it was. But like, yeah, he like did none of these things. He's like, I think like the closest thing like apparently he did to it was like, yeah, he found some of those camps. And then he kind of moved papers from left to right to get, you know, like the right people into the spots.
Yeah,
like you didn't go in there. You weren't Liam Neeson. Like you didn't tear up Paris. You know.
At the end of the day, did he save kids?
Well, I mean, sure.
For him, he's probably just like, hey, fuck the rest. I saved some kids.
What's
I
reality?
fabricated.
Yeah, look, I pulled my niece back from getting run over by a car once. I'm not gonna write a memoir about it and talk about how I child ring, you know, was saved.
In 20 years, I'm gonna tell her that it was traveling so fast. I grabbed you. I flipped over.
I broke the sound barrier trying to get you. Yeah, I was basically the Flash.
The Flash is basically my autobiography.
Like, you were underneath the car.
My real name is Barry Allen. Like what? But I'm starting to understand that it's way easier to look at the world in those very simplistic terms of here's some sort of people in distress and here I am to save the day, right? And I think that is so much easier to grapple with than the reality of life. Life is fucking complicated. It is rarely that easy. Like, to just say that, oh, I'm the good person in this situation and you're the bad person in this situation, and that's that, right?
Yeah.
That's rarely life. But it's so easy, which is why they love movies like this, where, and I when I was a kid, of course I love movies like that, because as a kid, that's how simple the world is, right? The world is much more complicated. And as I grew older, the media I started consuming is media that challenges me to think harder about life, that life is so much gray area, and I like things that make me think about that gray area, because that's where a lot of the shit gets that's where a lot of conflict in life comes from.
Yeah,
is from the gray area, right?
I don't know. I would challenge the fact the concept of like it's easier to, right? Mm-hmm. I think it's like when I look at what a lot of these like right wingers, the things that they're fighting against. And it seems like these things are so small and so inconsequential to like their own personal lives that I just don't get it. It feels like there's a lot of energy being expended by these people fighting against something that really in no way affects them, right?
No, but that's I think I'm sorry. I'm gonna let you finish, but I think that's literally the thing that I'm trying to say is that they create these things that aren't big deals, but it's always in the cast of hero, villain, you know, and it's so simple.
That's what I think is the hard part, right? Because it's like, it's like I could just, you do whatever makes you happy. You know, I'm gonna do whatever makes me happy, and like what you're doing and what you're doing for your happiness in no way affects me. It's not a slight against me in any way, but instead they decide to care. They're like, what are you guys doing over there? Oh, you guys are happy, you know, wearing rainbow t-shirts. Like I'm going to care about that. And but like you don't. And I feel like that is them choosing so much to care about like stopping other people's happiness because they don't understand it. They were taught something else. They grew up around other things. Yeah. It takes a lot of effort to care about all of these things that don't matter.
Well, I think the reason why they do is why they care about things that would otherwise not matter to them is because, and why that's easier is because and you said it like that doesn't affect them, and I think it does. I think it affects them in the way that it's a reflection of their own life. Meaning, okay, so there's the going idea that if you have like somebody who, forget whether it's right wing or left wing or whatever, like just somebody who's like really against like say like trans like porn or some shit, or just against porn period, right? There's almost a fucking certainty they watch hella porn. Like you could just give me 10 seconds with their fucking browser history.
Yeah.
And I will see the most foul shit ever, right?
They're on Google Incognito like, this is disgusting.
It's like a foregone conclusion that they're definitely watching a lot of porn, right? But it's because when people just outwardly say, hey, yeah, I watch porn, I don't give a shit, right? Like I fucking, you know, or somebody who might like somebody who's trans, right? Be like, I like trans people, you know, I choose to date trans people, right? But that challenges their own internal conflicts of, I like this, but my religion or some other stupid shit in my brain is telling me not to like this, and so I have to not like it, and so I've got to battle against those people because they're really just battling themselves. It's really what they're doing.
And the truth is, like, you know, and I know that like a lot of people are indoctrinated, right? They're like raised a certain way. And it's like, hey, the way that I was raised is the way that I see the world. And for a lot of people, it's like anything that conflicts with that or that like is in opposition of that, like I'm gonna fight what I think is a good fight, which is what I was taught. And if that means fighting like against trans people or gay people or like a certain movie or just a certain set of beliefs, like they're gonna do it, right? But it's also like, so they're going to take up arms and say, hey, I'm going to go and fight against the LGBTQ community, or I'm going to be anti-woke. And it's like, you don't have to, you could just
not
chill.
Care.
Like, yeah. You don't, like, to be anti something means I care enough.
You could just chill. Like somebody's like really amped up, like, yo, I'm about to go, I'm going to search for them all. I'm going to put this bill in. It's like, or
chill out.
You can just chill.
Just chill. Like that is the solution. Like I see, I saw somebody on social media recently. Hilarious. It's like it wasn't like Tucker Carlson. It was like Pierce Morgan, and he's like, you know, he's super about the anti-woke movement.
Yeah,
and it's like that just sounds like the stupidest fucking thing in the world to me. Because like, what is the woke movement really about? At the core, I mean, I think it's like it's right there in the words. It's just like, hey, wake up to the reality of like certain worlds, the world that we live in that's not always equal and fair for all people. Just like be awake and aware of that. Like don't sleep on it, like because there is inequality, and that's something that we all know is true. So to be anti-woke means like, oh, you're just saying that there's like inequality, and we all need to like wake up and be more aware of these things.
But I think that
I'm going to be anti that, and it's like it takes a lot of energy to be like that logic right there that you just presented. Fuck that! I'm going to fight against it.
Well, but it also too don't mistake that there is like money involved, right? So there is like some sort of like financial benefit, right? If you're like, hey, we needed more equitable we need a more equitable system. And I think what people who have already, what they immediately think is, you can't have that. Like the equitable for everybody. Fuck.
Because that means
right?
I might get a little bit less if
like,
everyone gets a little bit more.
Let's not do that, you know? So I think that there's that incentive. But I think also, too, it's just, at least to me, and maybe I could be wrong about this, but I feel like it's just it's easy to see the world simplistically, right? To see it as I'm good, you're bad. That's the end of the conversation. The challenging part in life is to see something that you're not familiar with and try to understand it, right? Because it's the easiest thing in the world to see something you don't understand. Like when I was a kid, right? And I maybe I would see somebody who's like trans or whatever. To me, I was just like, what's going on here? Like, what you know, what is this? You know, what's going on here? Like, I would never be like, I would never be like aggressive towards somebody or like make fun of somebody, like
throw a rock
or
you
do something
that,
crazy like that, right? But in my mind, I was like, oh, this is kind of weird, right? But then as you get older and then you start to learn and then you start to talk to people and then like you start to like, all right, let me step outside of my comfort zone a little bit. Let me just talk to somebody and figure out like what's going on here, right? You're just fucking people, you know, they're people who, you know, are just trying to do the best with life that they feel, right? That they're trying they're trying to represent themselves the way that they feel inside, and who can't
just trying to be happy. Like
that's at the end of the fucking day, right? But that's a harder thing if when you're dealing with something that isn't like, if you've only been like, it's what I would imagine somebody who hasn't been around like a lot of like black people, right? Like who maybe has like one black friend in the entire fucking county, and then suddenly they get put in, you know, on fucking North Ave in Baltimore, and they're like, well, this is a little different, right? You know, trying to understand things then can be really, really challenging. So it can be easy to jump to, oh, I'm good, these people are bad, boom.
Yeah. And like maybe it's because like I generally try, even to things that I'm like close myself off to. I understand that me closing myself off to it does not mean that I'm right or wrong. You know what I mean? It doesn't mean that you're right or wrong. I've just decided, hey, that's not for me. But like, you know,
when you say closing yourself off to it, like what do you mean?
For example, if someone's like super political, like someone's like, I'm a Republican, or I'm a right wing, I'm a left wing. I'm like, yeah, I don't care what wing you are. My wings are lemon pepper. You fucking like you do your thing, and like you don't.
You're still choosing a side if you say lemon pepper.
Maybe let's fight about that. Let's not fight about this legislation. You know what I mean? So like, I just generally don't.
But I mean, what do you think of that legislation like actually literally like affecting people's lives? Like even if it might not affect your life, like what if?
I think I do think we live in like a political system, right? Which is like, it always interests me when people are like, hey, I'm not into politics and I don't vote. Like, I'm not into politics, but we do live in the system, and I vote because either I participate in the system and I try and make somewhat of a difference, or I don't participate in the system and I just allow whatever happens to happen to me. You know what I mean? At least, I'm going to try and flex whatever small political muscle that I do have, right? But for the most part, like whether you're right wing or you're left wing, I generally believe that we probably agree on most things. You've just chosen to take a hard stance, and I'm not taking a stance left or right, because I don't think either side is wrong or right. It's probably a mixture of the two.
Well, I would challenge that. I would challenge that not because I think, oh, you should be left or right, but because you probably have like a set of beliefs. Now, is that 100% what people might determine to be left wing or right wing? Probably not. We're probably all a mix of, but it's definitely different proportions, right?
For sure.
Like you're probably, if you would be considered left wing, you'd probably be like 70-80% left wing shit, and maybe 20% of right wing shit, right?
And if we were able to just let's figure out that 20, right? That 20 where we agree. Like there's a big area where we don't, but like let's figure out the 20 where we do agree. I think there's so much production. We could have so much positivity and productiveness through that, right? But a lot of people, like let's say a left wing person and a right wing person, and they're like, hey, we actually do agree on this. We both agree on 20% of like our political views. There are people who be like, I'm still not going to work with you just because you're left wing or you're right wing. So even where we do agree, I'm still not going to agree to like the solution with you just because we're on different sides of the table.
I think that's really interesting what you touched on. I think that's I think that's a hard philosophical, like, again, and I'm always looking for what's the gray area in between, not just like what's the black and white.
Yeah.
That's a really hard thing to parse apart because, okay, let's say even if we're both like left wingers, right? And we agree on everything, right? Minus like, say something like gun control and a school gets shot up, my kid dies, and you're like, gun control,
Yeah.
Now, I feel like that's some shit where I can be like, I know we agree on 80% of the shit, but also fuck that, right? Because like literally people are dying.
What if we're trying to pass a bill for like to education funding, right? But like, hey, like, you know, we both agree that we see this education bill eye to eye, right?
Yeah.
I'm for guns, you're against guns, but we agree on the education bill. I would be like, hey, you know, or you could be against something that I'm like strongly for, vice versa.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, like we agree on this. Let's solve that problem.
Now you're describing why everything takes so fucking long to get done in Congress, because this same conversation is what's happening, right? Hey, we massively disagree on guns, but you know, we agree on this, education bill. Okay. So how can I get you then?
Yeah.
How do I use this education
As
bill
leverage
as a chip for the gun shit?
Where it should just be like, if we agree on that, let's agree on that.
But then how do we?
Then we'll have the gun. I'm not going to be like, oh, you have to agree on this healthcare bill, but also agree on, like, you know, vote yes for my gun ban bill or my, you know, gun legislation.
But then how do I? Because then you can just tell me to piss off with my gun shit, right? If I just agreed to sign the bill, then I have no leverage.
Yeah,
there's nothing.
And that's the unfortunate part about like politics, right? Like it's all just people trying to leverage their know, political power against each other.
Shit happens at work,
instead
right?
of just like solving the problem.
No, but we disagree on what problems to solve, right? Like that's the big thing, right? Is that we might both look at the education bill and be like, okay, we need this, right? And both agree on that. True, we agree in principle that this is what we should do, but how do we get the other shit that we don't agree on? But how do we get that shit done?
We treat them separately, right? If we agree on this,
if we bring up a gun bill, right? If both the bills, if you have an education and then a gun bill, right?
We agree on the health bill, we disagree on the gun bill. We have to figure that gun bill shit out. But if we agree on this,
we won't, because we don't agree. Like, so how would we figure that out?
Well, later, I don't know. We'll figure it out later. But if we both agree on the health bill, right? Let's just get that out the way. We both agree on that. Like, let's not use the gun regulation bill against the healthcare bill. But in politics, that's what they do. It's like, but you're not going to vote for this, I can't vote for that, even if we agree on that.
But I think that this is, I don't know what to call it. I'm sure I'm positive there's like a term for it, but I don't know what to call it. But I feel like this is omitting human nature. Like I think this is like,
I know I'm asking for if everything were perfect, right? That is the thing.
100%. But and also, even if it was perfect, even in that case, I still think that we'd find ourselves to some fucked up shit because, again, right wingers' idea of shit that they should focus on and that we should execute and get done. A left winger would be like, no, we're not explicitly, we're not doing that. Right. Like, and vice versa. Right. And so it's like, how do you reconcile that? How do you reconcile what to actually do? Sure. We can agree to do the things we get done. Okay, great. We've done those things. Great. But like, so say take something for like healthcare. Right. Yeah. And there'd be, say like progressives or whoever the fuck is saying, hey, we should pass some sort of universal healthcare system. Right wingers are like, fuck you, no, we're not, right? Okay, so then that's a massive part of our society. How the fuck do we figure that out if they're saying fuck you and we're like, no, we're moving ahead of this?
My quick solution. I think we talked about this last time.
Yeah.
I think you got to get rid of lobbying. I'm not sure if you saw the thing recently. It was like one of the Supreme Court justices. He was essentially given
Clarence Thomas.
Was it Clarence Thomas who was like gifted?
All of them motherfuckers are fucking sus, if you ask me.
Well, so this one guy, he was like gifted lavish trips and vacations.
That you're describing like 5 of the 5 different people.
Yeah, but that
was Clarence Thomas.
It was Clarence Thomas. It was Clarence Thomas,
and it was
but also
Justice Alito who came out and basically said, hey guys, we shouldn't roll back. We should just allow us to do what we always do. There should be no legislation.
I love the
we're good, guys.
It's insane. They're just like,
I love it. Fuck
I'm clearly doing something wrong, but we
should be able to do it though.
Change it.
Yeah, hey, fuck it.
Anyway, I mean,
I just want to like comment on that one because that one's hilarious to me because obviously these things are coming out right now, you know, about these justices getting lavish gifts and everything. And then you have Alito coming out. Hey, it's like, hey guys, the system is technically not broken because it's like 5 of us. You know, it's not everybody. Let the 5 of us do what we do.
The 5 of us are only the Supreme Court. Like, just let us do what we want to do.
Like, we know we're actively being bribed, but come on, guys.
Yeah, I like it. Being bribed is fun. Don't ruin it.
Who doesn't want to be rich? You know.
Now, I do want to comment, man. Like on the left and the right thing, man. It is fascinating to me because during the 2016 election. Like that's when my family found out that I was not right wing, and it like really caused some like division and a rift. And I remember this one very specific. I won't say which family member I talked to. I know Tunde, you probably know exactly who I'm referring to here. But we're having this conversation, and I'm like, you know, hey, like universal healthcare would like benefit all of us, like, and this is how it could benefit you. And I'm laying out all these reasons why it could be beneficial. And I was using myself as a personal example. You guys obviously know what's going on with my health stuff, or at least in the past. I was like, this would have been nice that I didn't have to struggle with this, that I didn't have all these crazy medical expenses, $22,000 in a span of 2 years that I paid. Like, and this family member goes, well, yeah, I would like that for you. Like, if we could get it just for you, that'd be fine. But like, I don't want to pay for everybody else. And I'm like, that's not how it works, man. We can't just pick and choose. Like, it
is interesting to see someone just divorce themselves of all logic. Yeah. Like, in the moment, they're like, no.
But again, I think that's I'm speaking to that in that that's why politics has to be played to some degree, because I think a majority of the shit that we don't agree on, it's not based on logic. It's based on fucking personal feelings and shit, right? Like, if we really wanted to sit down and figure out our healthcare system, I'm sure there's a fucking way we can sit down and okay, what are these ideas? What are that idea? Okay, what actually makes sense? Because universal healthcare, from my understanding, it's like it's what we should have, right? But also it's got some fucking downfalls of its own, right? There are negatives there too. Now, they pale in comparison to the negatives we have now, but there's still issues with it, right?
For sure.
So we should sit down and try to perfect that system, right? Yeah. It doesn't mean that we should not try to do it. It means that we just need to make sure that we come up with something that, okay, this works. Maybe not in every situation. Maybe it's not the perfect scenario for everybody, but it works for the majority of people, right? At least get there, right? Yeah. But we don't, because of fucking human nature, right? Like, as humans, I don't think I think it's that there are some people who are more generous in terms of like, hey, let's do for others, let's do for our neighbor, because not only because it's like the quote unquote right thing to do, but because it helps me if I help my neighbor, right? Yeah. Like in our neighborhood here, right? If people, like I had this a couple summers ago where somebody like left like an open trash container on their sidewalk, and it was just like, yo, motherfucker, like, come on, help me help you here, like, Jesus Christ, this is bad for everybody. This fucking flies everywhere on the fucking block and shit, so I had to help, clean that up, and for as much as it was like, all right, I shouldn't be fucking doing this because it's not my shit. Yeah. It's like I helped the entire fucking block. It benefited
you in some way, yeah, for sure.
And I'm still benefiting from that, right? There are others who are like, no, I'm just gonna hoard all the shit for myself. And honestly, we're all kind of like that to some degree, right? That we have to at some point take care of ourselves, right? Take care of the spaces that we inhabit, right? That I can't take up I can't save the fucking world, but I can at least provide for me, my family, and maybe some other people outside.
We talked about this on the last episode, right? Like, again, if I had the Infinity Gauntlet and I was in a room and I was like, and I'm like asking all the politicians, I'm like, do you believe like there should be like everyone has a human right to like healthcare? And somebody's like, no. What about my gun bill? Just like, all right, you're gone. Who else doesn't agree? I guarantee you we'd have a system that works.
Eventually, we're going to get to, my whole point is, eventually we're going to get to a topic where I would massively disagree with you, and I don't want to see what. Yeah.
Sorry, the irony in that though, Orain, it's beautiful because you're kind of giving them what they want. You're taking them out probably with a gun.
I don't,
No,
that's the Infinity Gauntlet.
Well, I mean, I get it, but that's if we're talking reality here. you're probably taking them out with a gun.
I don't think that's how that works.
No, I wouldn't want to.
Like, I don't think you
are
can
you
walk
saying
into
if I had
Congress
the
with an
Infinity
Uzi.
Gauntlet,
You start shooting.
I would still
They have
shoot.
before.
No, that's how crazy. That's how crazy he thinks you are. It's just like you're crazy enough that you have a way to just disappear.
I don't want to destroy
He
This
wants
is
to-
very nice. This is drywall.
What
No,
is-
it's not dry. What is
Dry.
this?
It's marble, man. It's not
Is this
drywall.
original brick? I would have come in here and start shooting it up. No,
What did Alfred say in the Dark Knight? Some men
some
just
men,
want to
yeah,
watch the world burn.
if it looks nice, I don't want to destroy it. Just get rid of them.
Yeah. Okay. So circling all of this
Back to Barbie somehow.
back to Barbie somehow, is there are a lot of themes in that movie that I think were talked about that were either conflicting, like outright, what I felt like were like conflicting themes, or themes that felt like they deserved more time on their own, you know, and that, you know, just a couple lines here and there didn't really
Yeah.
like do it justice. You know,
Like,
it's like
it was-
this is like a big thing you're talking about, and
They never dived really deep into like a certain
Yeah.
topic because there was so much of it. Yeah.
there's so
Okay.
much of everything, you know, and they did sort of tie it up kind of nicely in the end, but I felt like they were kind of like toting this line, you know, like where they didn't really take like they took a stance, but it was kind of like we're gonna split this down the middle sort of thing. And while ordinarily I'd be like pretty into that, I think there was something, and I'm still thinking about it. Of just like, I mean, I feel like maybe I need to watch it again to be like, okay, this is specifically what issue
Yeah.
that I have with this, but it felt very sort of like we're consciously trying to like split the difference here, not because we believe
Again,
X, Y, or Z.
I think that because Barbie is a product, right? It is like it is IP. It is an own entity by like the Mattel company. While I'm sure they and I read the CEOs of Mattel's comments, like they intentionally we want to bring in a female director. We want to make this thing be like we want to be very careful with it because it is like I think Barbie accounts for like 30% of Mattel's like yearly revenue, right? Yeah,
Wow.
it's just such a big,
plays with
huge,
Barbies
massive.
anymore?
There are little girls popping up everywhere.
Yeah, but are they?
I got to
playing
be
with
politically
Barbies?
correct.
I
There are
just-
little girls, little boys, little whoever's who want to play with Barbie, and like it's still like this isn't just like in the U.S. This is like a massive
bro.
global. I think in they accounted for like $5 billion of sales last year. The Barbie product line alone. So anyway, I think the CEO made it clear, hey, we want to bring in the right person to direct the movie. We want to make sure we have the right cast, a diverse cast that's representative of our like full product line. But at the same time, Barbie is a product, and I'm sure even Greta Gerwig
Yeah.
still had to operate within some like guardrails or guidelines, because what the company doesn't want, what Mattel doesn't want, is them to do anything that's going to hurt the sales of Barbie or
Yeah.
turn off any one group particularly or largely to the idea of continuing to buy Barbie.
Yeah, it's hard to explain without like going into details about the movie, but it doesn't feel like that was the case. It felt like they were with the message that they were trying to send. It and Addie, again, since you watch it, you can jump in. It didn't feel like to me that they were censoring themselves for the product. It felt like they were censoring themselves because they were trying to make a larger point, but they didn't want to take like a hard stance with that point. They were
Yeah.
trying to kind of just tote the line with the point. And it didn't feel like it was because like you can watch some like either Marvel movies or I don't know, some movies in general and feel like, oh, okay, they did this because it's like, you know,
Yeah, I mean,
This is
the goal
trying to save
is
you.
for it not to be overt, right? Not to be obvious. But if we're just thinking about from the business perspective, if you have a really good product, this movie should enhance that product, because ultimately, even after this movie, 5 years from now, they're still trying to sell Barbies.
Okay, so in a weird way, I think the movie is kind of weirdly like anti-Barbie in a lot of ways, in that like even how it ends, it's like the complete, I wouldn't say complete, but like it goes pretty hardcore in the realm of, yeah, Barbie probably shouldn't be a thing, at least in the iteration that it
I've
has.
heard like Margot Robbie talk about it, and like I feel like when I've heard her speak about the character and the role and like its importance in today's like society and like the conversation around Barbie,
Yeah.
I feel like it's more so let's destroy the misconception around Barbie being like only the pretty blonde white girl, you know what I mean? And like, the Barbie world is much more than that. It's much more diverse and representative. So I think they're like, hey, like let's kill whatever negative narratives there are about Barbie. That's why they did a live action movie instead of an animated movie. But we still want to sell product.
Yeah, so with that though, Rain, like if you do get the chance to watch the movie, I think what Tunde is saying is correct. Like they tried to toe the line, but they purposely didn't go hard enough into it. Because all of the things that we kind of look at, what Barbie has meant to, say, like for example, the feminist movement, and they even alert. I think it was America Ferrera's daughter in that movie. I forgot the actress's name. Mm-hmm. She even alludes to. She's like, hey, like Barbie set the feminist movement back 50 years. That's like the only kind of like mention that they make to it. They don't really go into the depth of like, okay, how like how it's shaped the perception for young girls of how a body should look.
Yeah.
They didn't go very hard into that. It was almost as if they tried to toe the line to just poke enough fun at themselves without sending the direct message that a lot of activists have been sending, like, hey, like this Barbie right here is a terrible representation of what a woman looks like, should look like.
That I might disagree with, because I think that even speaking about America Ferrera, like she has a couple like the whole idea of how she helps to fix what's wrong ends up being like these speeches that actually speak literally like directly to that. So I don't think I viewed it a little differently than that, but I do understand like what you're saying. I think in summary, I think. Yes, this is a product that they need to sell. They would like to sell product and yada, right? And so you sort of have to be conscious of that with the movie.
For sure. Which is why you probably feel like this tone that they didn't take a hard stance on any particular thing, because it's like, we don't want to take a hard stance on any particular thing. We do want to shape or change the image of Barbie being, and like this whole like anti-feminist, like terrible for the feminist movement. Maybe we poke fun at ourselves for maybe having been that in the past, but like the goal is like show a new direction of what Barbie could be and a positive thing, sell some product.
No, fair enough.
And again, I haven't seen the movie, so you know.
But I would be curious if you still hold that belief after watching the movie.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll change.
And where do you stand right now, Orain? So, like, obviously you have a daughter. I'm about to have a daughter today. I think Blue is a female dog. Where do you stand? I'm tired, man.
Those are the weird jokes.
Yeah, those are the weird jokes. I told you, Rain. I warned you, man. Like, where do you stand? Like, like to me, like, I personally am probably not gonna have, my daughter have, specific Barbie dolls. Maybe different type of dolls, but like, your daughter, does she play with Barbie dolls? Like, is that something that you throw at her? Like, hey, this is a doll you can play with, kind of thing.
Yeah, my daughter doesn't really play with like Barbie, but she does like enjoy playing with dolls. It's mostly like dolls that are characters from a TV show she's watching.
Sure. And how would that how would that like fly though if she does get an affinity for Barbie dolls, and that's how she starts viewing like how women should look, that she wants the smaller shoulders, that she wants the small waist and long legs and things like that, like where's your mindset at with it?
I think it's gonna be hard to like keep them completely closed off to those things. So if my daughter wants a Barbie doll, I'm like, sure, I'll get you a Barbie doll, you can play with it. But like the thing that's really important to me is like have a conversation with them. These kids are a lot smarter than you'd think they are, right? 7-year-old, you're probably just, they're just a silly kid. Just let them like give them something to play with and they'll be fine. Like I do have very specific and intentional conversations with my daughter about like how she perceives certain things or her feelings or emotions. So I would just have the conversation with her. Like, what do you like about this toy? Why do you like it? Like, do you, is it, is it just fun, or do you identify with it in some way? If you want a Barbie, like which one do you want? My daughter, does gravitate more towards like the dolls of color. Like she'll get like a black Barbie doll, a Hispanic Barbie doll. She'll get Moana. She won't get like, the Disney princess with the long blonde yellow hair. And I think that's good that they had those options now. Because 20 years ago, little black girls didn't have a Barbie doll to play with.
I think we might have to go back a little further than 20 years ago.
Yeah, you'd have to go back a little. Yeah,
sure
20 years ago was
2000.
2020.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
I don't
03,
think
there was Barbie.
Yeah, I don't think in 03 they were like,
they allude to it in
Barbies.
Mattel, like how I think she started in like the 80s or something like that.
Let me see. I just did a quick search for
maybe even the 70s, wasn't it? And she's like, I'm just an old lady with tax evasion problems, you know.
Yeah.
But I actually do like that point.
So it was actually
Rain.
1980. So it wasn't until
1980,
1980 that Barbie doll was first African American.
And you know,
doll.
she modeled it, you know, after her daughter Barbara, and that's where the, you know, name Barbie comes from and everything. But so if I'm kind of understanding what you're saying is like, you know, you kind of put the onus on the parent, right?
Yeah, I think it's important.
Which I agree with.
Let
by
your
the way,
kid
you
play
should.
with what they want to play with, and like enjoy, but like also teach them about it, ask them questions, engage with them. Like they will learn and form and like, you know, form their own opinions over time. But I think a lot of parents probably just like give their kid the toy and like, here, have fun with it.
Just to go play
like
with
I would
us.
be like, hey, you know, here's the toy you asked for, have fun with it. Talk to me a little bit. Like, do you like it? Is it fun? What do you like? What don't you like? Blah, blah, blah. And just like engage with them. That helps shape their understanding more so than I'm just not just going to let her watch the commercial.
Yeah.
I'm going to actually talk to her.
What is the response if, like, say she chose like a white Barbie who was like the prototypical Barbie?
Yeah, small shoulders, you know,
and-
thin waist, long legs, kind
And
of
then
thing.
she's like, "No, this is my favorite Barbie." Like, and then she's like, and you're like, "Why do you like this?" And you're like, "I don't know, it looks good."
Yeah,
Like,
well, I
what do
mean,
you
I've
think?
had this conversation with my daughter, right? Like, she has like gotten the white Barbie, and like when she was younger, she had made the comment that like, "Oh, this one's prettier," right? And I think it's just exposure, right? Like you look at the premium or the first, you know, propped up iteration of Barbie, it's like the thin blonde white one, right? So again, I had the conversation with her, and what I teach her is like just self-love and to love her hair. I always tell her like how much I love her like hair and how like, you know, her hair is so long and curly, and I teach her to like love and appreciate herself and to find that in the toys that she plays with, and like I see her discovering it on her own. It's like when she watches certain TV shows, she watches shows with characters that like look like her. You know, whether it's on Netflix or Hulu or in like Disney movies, and I think it is because we do have those conversations. Like if she wants a white Barbie doll, will I get it for her? Sure, because I don't want to teach her it's like a bad thing, you know. But she over time naturally gravitates to the toys that look like her, and I'm like, I think that's great.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I think that's an interesting thing.
Yeah, I like it,
because I
man.
don't- yeah.
I hope I can be as good of a father as you, man. I like that. That was nice.
You will be.
Yeah.
I'm absolutely certain.
Yeah, if you guys are done jerking each other off.
All right, dog owner.
You own dogs. What is it? What the fuck?
Addy, how many dogs?
Up until 2 seconds ago, that was all you owned. All right, relax.
That's true. How many dogs you
That's
got?
true.
Addy?
That's true. Yeah.
How many dogs do you have?
It's got 3.
I got 3. I got one more than Tunde does.
What the fuck? That's what I'm talking about. This is cognitive dissonance. People will attack you for shit. Look, this is the exact
same
shit that
thing,
I was talking about. People will do some shit.
Hey, let's go.
and
Like,
attack
hey,
you because
guys, everybody, let's just chill.
no, I'm angry. I want to attack. You know,
Or let's
chill.
just chill.
Let's just chill. All right. One last thing before we, or if you guys had anything else, obviously jump in with it. But I was reading this article today that I barely understood what the fuck was going on in this. So I was reading this article about Gen Zers are worried they're getting old and out of touch after realizing they don't understand Gen Alpha's memes. First of all, I had to educate myself on what the fuck Gen Alpha was because I was like, that's a new one for me. So Gen Alpha, which encompasses those born between the early 2010s and mid 2020s, has mostly managed to avoid being dragged into discussions about generational differences, right? Which I think is very true because they're fucking kids, right? Who's really dragging them into generational conversations? So apparently there's this meme, and this article is so weird because it's all just based on like memes and shit. And it's just like, what is happening in the world? Like, why is this how we're defining generations now is through fucking memes? Like,
Yeah.
we used to define it by like, okay, well, are you left wing, right wing, religious, not religious? It's like, no, which memes are you looking at? Like, what does that even mean? Like, so this talked about like, that Gen Alpha is really into this thing called Skibbity Toilet, which is an animated YouTube series about singing and dancing toilet-like creatures that want to take over the world. And this thing looks terrifying. Adi, I don't even know if you can, you might be able to,
I'm looking for it.
okay. Or I could just send you the link, or I'll post the link in the, in Trello.
This thing, I'm gonna.
Terrifying, dude.
This thing. See, I don't need to understand everybody and everything. Listen, if this is who's this Gen Alpha? If this is
the
what they're
newer
doing,
generation, yeah.
you guys do it. Have
No,
fun with
I
it.
think you do need to understand it, and I say this because you have a kid,
Um,
and so
I don't even then like there are going to be things just because we were born in different periods of time.
Yep.
Me and my daughter are 27 years apart, right? So as she gets older, I get older. There will be things that like I'm like, hey, throughout the course of my life, I've enjoyed these things, and I'm going to continue to do these things, and new shit will happen. I don't have to understand all of it. I don't have to engage with all of it. There are people who are perfectly happy and they don't have a Twitter or a Facebook or a MySpace. They're perfectly happy. So I look at this as one of those things where if this is what the kids are doing,
Addy, no, it is working. Go back to it.
if this is what the kids are doing, let them do it. I don't give a fuck about this. It doesn't bother me. It doesn't mean I'm getting older faster. This, like all things, will come and go with time. But yes, this looks stupid, and it does make me fucking worry that these kids are dumber than we thought they were. Because these are, we were supposed to be the future. Look at us.
All I know
Fuck.
is this shit looks terrifying.
If
Look at
this is the future, oh my God, it's going to get a lot worse. There's some dark days ahead.
Yeah, there are. The reason why I'm saying though that it's important to like understand these type of things is because in order to even be able to like have a conversation with your kid, I think it's important to understand some of the shit that they're into. It's like, my mom, God bless her heart, I can have a conversation with her, but there's just no way we can have like, she can understand really like what's going on in my life without understanding like the verbiage, without understanding the idea of some of the shit we're talking about, because, and especially like a lot of it's like technology based,
Yeah,
right?
she understands the human experience.
She understands the human experience, but even to understand my human experience, she kind of has to understand the world that I inhabit, right? Otherwise, it's all going to be foreign with her, and it's going to seem like I'm speaking in another language when I'm talking to her,
For sure. I'm not saying don't pay attention to anything these kids are doing. I think in our lives, we all have the ability to like choose, right? I choose to dedicate my time and my attention to this thing because I'm interested in it. It might be important for me to know it. It will allow me to stay closer to my kids, my friends, my family, or it's just something that's happening right now socially, and maybe I should pay a little bit of attention to it. How much you care about it, that's like, that's entirely up to you. And I'm reading, like I was reading through the article that you, I did the search for it. I was reading through it, and it's just like, it feels like, I mean, I could be wrong, but it seems like it's just something that's trending on Twitter right now among young people. But like, we know that like in a couple of weeks, it'll be something else.
Okay, so like take for instance 4chan, right? That's a place where it's an incubator for a lot of dark shit, right? And I would argue that not understanding what that is, like if you come in to your kid's room and they're on 4chan, we need to have a fucking conversation, because I know what that, I just don't even know what being on 4chan implies, right? I'm not saying it's a fucking, you're guilty of some crime just by being on 4chan, but I understand what that fucking rabbit hole is. And so I can understand the difference between a parent walking in a room, seeing their kid on 4chan and be like, oh, cool, and then keep it moving, versus a parent who walks in their kid's room, sees them on 4chan, is like, what the fuck?
Yeah. But like, I feel like you're going to walk into your kid's room at some point in time, and like they're going to be doing something or listening to something or watching something you're not going to know about, right? So like, is it important for me to like have known about like all the things that young people are doing like beforehand? No, like, but what is important is that as parents to just ask the question, hey, like, what is that? Tell me about that. And then if you like start to learn, oh, it's something like, now granted, you should know the bad things, right? Like your kid shouldn't be on fucking deathrape.com.
4chan.
But 4chan. But like, if I don't really know what 4chan is. I just know that it's like a bad website where people freely talk about like terrible things, I guess, right? So if I walk in the room and I see my kid on 4chan, I'm like, hey, talk to me about it. What are you finding on there? What are you interested in? What are you searching? What are you reading? Like, what are your thoughts? Blah, blah, blah. Or if it's like a really bad thought, you set some ground rules like, hey, I've learned about this thing and I forbid it in my house, right? But like, you can't protect your kid from everything. You won't know. If I'm 50, I won't know everything that like my 20-year-old daughter is into. The best I could do for the most part is like try and stay somewhat aware and in the know and informed.
Yeah,
and
that's all
ask
I'm
questions.
talking about. I'm not saying you need to like know. You need to fucking be like a Steve Buscemi and is like, hello, my fellow. What does he say? My fellow teenagers or my fellow
yeah.
youth. Or
Hello,
whatever the
yeah,
fuck
hello
it is.
youth. Something like that.
Yeah.
What movie
I'm
is
not
that
saying
from?
I forget exactly what movie that's from. But I'm not saying you got to be that, right? I'm not saying you got to like wear like the backwards cap and like you wear all the clothes that they're wearing and you say all the shit that they say. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying it would benefit to understand at least somewhat of what they're doing. Like, so for instance, this shit seems like it's so completely foreign to me. And like, for one, I know I'm not going to find the energy. I know we know this with music, right? Like, I don't listen to any new music, right? Like, because it's not my shit. Like, it's not the shit that I appreciate, that I have some sort of nostalgic tie to, right? Do I listen to some new music and I'm like, okay, this is cool, right? But that's like very far and few in between that I do.
I keep
that.
a list of like new artists to listen to. Like if somebody tells me like, you know, yo, you should listen to this artist, this person out there, I'll add it to the list.
You know what's hilarious? You know what's really fucking hilarious is
What?
a day or two ago, you were along with my partner, were making fun of me because you said you would say some shit, and then I'd say the same thing and be like, "Oh, but this is my idea." I'm saying the thing you're saying right now.
What do you mean? Like keeping up with?
Yeah, the thing that I've maintained this entire time was, understanding like what's going on currently, like in society, and specifically speaking when it comes to the like younger kids and shit. And then you're like, well, people like suggest
How are we
like
saying the
arts,
same thing?
because you're suggesting that people will suggest new artists, right? Which new artists, I'm assuming you're going to be younger artists, right? I'm assuming you're not a new artist at 54 years old, right? I mean,
Late break, but got my
late bloomer
on the XL freshman cover, like 60 years old, like studio album coming out soon,
debut,
signed to a 25-year-old. Oh my God!
They believe I'll live out 5 years of it.
Could you imagine signing to Coil Ray Records?
No, they're like, great. You're going to
like
make albums for 5 years, and then we're not going to have to pay you out the rest of it because you're probably going to die in like 6 years.
Yeah, the record company's like, yo, this person's never going to see their royalties. They won't make it.
They never will.
We own their likeness.
Yeah.
But no, what I'm saying is like, I'll add the person's name to my list, and there are some times when like I'm at home and I'm like, all right, you know what? A couple weeks ago, someone told me to listen to this artist. Let me just YouTube some of their music or whatever. Yeah. So like I do my best to engage in it, but there's some shit where I'm like,
yeah, that's all I'm like. I understand that there's some things that you're just not going to like, right? That's not for you, right? I'm not even saying this thing that we're talking about, the memes, is for you.
Yeah.
But what I am saying, it benefits you to at least try to like understand it. And I'm not sure if there's even much to understand here. There's like,
but here's one of those situations where I look at this shit and I'm like, maybe it would benefit me to understand it, but I won't. I'm not going to try. You guys have fun with it.
Yeah, fair enough. I think what I'm saying is to understand kids, and maybe even specifically your kid. I think you have to at least have like a working knowledge. Like, so for instance, if you look on your kid's phone and you see a bunch of like eggplant emojis coming from a text message, like that's going to trigger something in you to be like, what the fuck's going on here, right? But if you're a parent who like maybe you're like 94,
you're a vegan parent, you're like, you have healthy friends.
guys eat so well.
Oh
I don't even have to coach you on this shit. You already know what the deal is.
Why do you have all these boys sending you vegetable messages? It's like,
I like them though. You need to keep them around.
Invite them over. Yeah. Like, no, don't do it.
Yeah. So, but like, you get what I mean though, right?
Yeah.
Like, you don't. I'm not saying you have to fucking know everything about or even like everything.
I would say be willing to engage with it.
Yeah.
Be open to listening. Like, there's some people who are like, I'm not going to listen to that artist or that I'm not going to watch that movie because it's not, it's not for me. It's for young people. Like, I'm open. Like I said, I keep a list of like, if somebody tells me to listen to a new artist, I'm like, I'll give it at least one album, or generally I do like up to 5 songs on an album, right?
Yeah.
If I don't like it after 5 songs on the album, then I generally
whose album. Like, I would argue that there are a lot of albums where I like maybe like 3 songs on there.
Yeah, I mean, especially like the shorter albums now where artists are putting out projects with like 12 songs on it, right? Yeah. Whereas like back in the days, you might get like 24 songs on an album.
Yeah, shit was bloated.
Now, to listen to an album and only like 3 or 4 songs, it's fair, especially if there's only 12 songs on the album. Like that's reasonable. That's like 20% of the album,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So like, would you still like say like you like the artist if you only like or if you like the album, if you only like 3 or 4 songs on the album.
If
then
I
it's
like
a
more
10,
than half
12
of the
track.
songs on the album, I'll say I like the album. If I like less than half
Yeah.
of the songs on the album,
Yeah.
then it was okay, but I didn't love that album.
Favorite albums all the time. Let's
Ooh.
go. Addy, you first.
Favorite album of all time.
Yeah.
What genre?
Pick whatever genre you want, man. This is America.
Well, no, you gotta specify, man. I mean, do
America.
you
I said
only
that
listen to
country
hip hop
as
and
shit.
rap? Like,
This is America. No, literally pick whatever. I don't care what genre you pick.
all right. So if we're talking like hip
K-pop?
hop rap,
Are you gonna K-pop?
K-pop, yeah. Okay, so sure. K-pop. My favorite all-time K-pop.
No. So this counts as your favorite album
Of all time.
albums.
No, I don't.
if
I
you
don't
were-
even
Go
think
with
I
your
would have
favorite-
one.
If you were
man.
going to list a K-pop album, Addy,
I mean, I absolutely will, man. I absolutely will. So my
Jesus
favorite
Christ.
K-pop
Wait.
album, or it wouldn't be K-pop, it would be hip-hop from South Korea, which would be Epic High's Swan Song album.
Okay.
That
I
would
think
be
that's
my
what you
favorite.
sent me.
I did. I sent you a couple of
yeah,
Epic
yeah.
High, more recent stuff from them. Favorite hip hop album of all time would be Lupe Fiasco's "Food and Liquor," the first one.
That's a good one.
That's a good one. But it'd probably be up there tied with Blueprint. Like it would have to be. Like it would have to be.
Why is the Blueprint so inarguable as like the greatest album of all time?
And that's why I always kind of like I have to put it next to whatever else I'm about to say. Be like, yeah, but it's also the Blueprint.
It's just like
you
the
know?
default. Like what is it about? Like as soon as
Yeah.
fucking Ruler's back,
I don't
when
know, man,
when that
but,
shit hits, it's just like it's great.
It's good,
what are you
man.
gonna do?
My favorite pop punk album of all time would be "Hit the Lights." "This Is a Stick Up, Don't Make It a Murder." So yeah, like it depends on the genre, man.
Yeah, true.
You know,
What's your favorite
any
genre?
greatest hits from Chuck Berry, because they didn't really release albums. So like anything Chuck Berry, I fucking love.
What's your favorite genre in that case?
I would definitely be hip hop.
Oh, okay. So then your favorite album would by default be the Blueprint then, or
Yeah,
food
yeah.
Food and Liquor.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because they hold different periods of my like life where different things were happening.
Yeah.
You know, when I was really into Food and Liquor, it was right when I had my football injury, my major one, and I kind of related to some of the tracks in that with what was going on in my life there.
Yeah.
The Blueprint, man, like that was like
It just slaps no matter what
it
you're
just
doing.
slaps, but also like I was just learning English, like
okay,
I was
okay.
learning
Oh,
all the right
shit, you
words.
learned off of
You know,
Jay-Z.
I was living
Said
down.
girls.
Exactly. All my friends were black, so like everything just made sense, like it
Addy
just
said
all
what's up to
fit.
people like hola ovito. It's like,
my
yo,
God.
calm down. What are you doing? All right, what are you doing?
So my list.
Yeah.
So I was like trying to compile it really quick. I'm just making sure I'm going down the right path here, right? I think I was talking about this album the other day, and it's still, it still holds weight. I'm gonna go with Raheem Devon's "The Love Experience."
I just listened to I believe. What is it?
Believe.
What is this like first song? Yeah, believe.
Yeah.
Oh,
Guess Who Loves You
what
More.
a smooth fucking song.
That album was just beautiful. Then Miseducation of Lauryn Hill.
I was gonna. Damn,
Yeah.
you got me. You sniped me. You got me.
Then I'm gonna go with. I gotta go with.
Yo, what is it
what was
about
Whitney
Miss?
Houston's first album?
Is that I Want to Dance? Is that
Was
the
that,
one?
I think
with
that was
on
her
it?
first hit, like one of the biggest songs from the album. But was it?
I don't
album
get it.
called Dance with Somebody.
I don't think that's what the album was called. I'm saying that song was on that album. I think.
Yeah. Then I gotta go with like, Outkast, Stankonia.
That's a heavy waiter. That's a heavy waiter.
Then I'm trying to think.
and like with that album,
Michael
man.
Jackson's like off the
Why
wall.
are you? What are you doing? Stop!
You're just
You're
going
just
off,
so
man.
much.
You're just going
Jacking
off.
me right now.
There's so much here. It's you do have to narrow it down to genre. There's
You do.
just too many.
Yeah, her first studio album was. Wait, shit. This is not a list of studio albums.
Yeah, while you do that, man,
Yeah.
that Outkast album, like it broke so many barriers between, the type of instrumentals, the type of lyricism that was used. What actually made it mainstream, man, I fucking loved it. That's a great one.
Yeah, I think that album like really solidified like Southern hip hop as like
100%.
not just like it's not just about like rapping about cars and shit. Like there's content and substance to their to lyricism, and it solidified Outkast as one of the greatest hip hop groups of all time.
Clearly,
the storytelling from Big Boy,
and it's perpetual, meaning that it doesn't matter what year you listen to that album, it still slaps.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Save All My Love for You, How Will I Know, Greatest Love of All of these are.
I know.
All of these are from her debut album, Whitney Houston. It was just simply named Whitney Houston.
Yo, to name your album just your name.
You know, like, you're coming out the gate.
You know you were in the booth and you had this shit cooking.
Yo,
you're name it after me.
Fucking lab. You know, I know the name's gonna hit. Don't worry.
Yeah, we don't have to test it. We don't need the studio's permission.
A/B testing.
Just
this
name
shit.
it after me and put it out.
It's all A. All right, so you guys already jocked my style with these albums. I was going to say Blueprint. Addy already got me there. I was going to say Miseducation of Lauryn Hill. You already got me there. I was going to say Off the Wall. Dare I say? You know what? It's a hard Thriller or Off the Wall. But I'm gonna surprise you. I think Michael Jackson's greatest album, like peak Michael, I think it's Dangerous, which doesn't really get talked about that much. Black or White. Remember the Time.
Remember the Time.
One of the hottest tracks of all time that I don't think anybody really fucks with is I Can't Let Her Get Away, or Can't Let Her Get Away. Yo, what Teddy Riley did with that fucking album, I think
Teddy Riley produced it?
He produced it, yeah. What he did with that album was simply incredible, and that's one of the hottest tracks that I don't think anybody fucking knows about, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, just that entire fucking album is the song from Free Willy.
I know what song you're talking about.
Do 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 do.
That melody's not gonna hit me.
Oh, we should play that bitch right now. We get copy struck right now.
Yeah, I mean, it really is, and like, you know, if you ask me the same exact question a week from now, I might give you like 5 different albums because there's so many different options.
I'm gonna give you another one that I'm pretty sure you guys aren't gonna fuck with, but was at least it's my own personal favorite. I think one of the albums that is probably still pretty influential to me to this very day is Coldplay's second album, A Rush of Blood to the Head. I think that was an incredible album, and I think that it cemented them as one of the greatest bands of all time. I think with that album in their catalog, you know, I think it's people hate them because it's like, they're too commercial, but I think everybody's like, all right, fuck it, I'll give you A Rush of Blood to that.
Let's be honest. There's some like genres that I just don't know that I'm missing, but I've heard. You know, what I mean, like I've heard a bit of Nirvana's Nevermind album with the baby,
incredible album.
Floating in the Water. Marvin Gaye's What's Going On album.
Yeah, there's some things that were just like kind of out of our time a little bit. But then why do we go back and listen to shit that is like I'll go back and listen to Off the Wall right now, Thriller right now. You know, like that wasn't really in my time. I wasn't even born when Off the Wall came out. I wasn't even born when Thriller came out. So it's like, why do we fuck with those things?
I mean, recency bias, right? I think we are all more inclined to like things that happened during the point in time in which we were like,
but it didn't. That's my exact point. Is that those albums didn't happen.
For the most part, but then we also, there are certain things that just stand the test of time because each year it goes through like the litmus quality test and it fucking passes, right?
That is
like,
true. Everybody was playing Michael Jackson,
Yeah.
like Billie Jean, or like.
And for us, we're young enough to like very much know and remember both Michaels. You got Black Michael, you got White Michael. You know, I saw both Michaels.
There's one Michael.
Yeah, there's one, but you know, it's like there's 23 LeBron, there's 6 LeBron. You've got who else changed numbers? You got 8 Kobe, you got 24 Kobe, right? You got Bulls Jordan, you got Wizards Jordan.
Yeah.
You know, one was not good, the other was great. So it's like, who do you know? I think there's a real question there, like which Kobe do you like more? 8 Kobe, who was like young and aggressive and just balling hard,
that dude was,
or like older, more mature, more decisive 24 Kobe?
One is an assassin. You know, hit you through the window. The other will destroy your entire building.
Yeah, I like 24
Kobe would destroy your entire fucking building. 24 Kobe, surgical. surgical with how
Yeah.
he did it. Broke you down surgically. A Kobe just didn't give a fuck. He would.
I like 24 Kobe better because he was just a little bit more like I understand the game.
He's
now.
mature,
I don't
yeah.
have to draw. I don't have to do all the crazy shit. I know this person's game. I know I'm gonna just two to the left, take you to the right because I've studied. You know, I'm a master at my craft.
Yeah, yeah. As far as these albums go, man,
We can talk about albums all
we
day.
could,
Like,
we could.
And
Yeah, yeah.
again, I know there's so many that I'm missing here.
Yeah, yeah. I think why does Miseducation? I've always wondered this. Why does everybody fuck with Miseducation?
I think for that Lauryn Hill album was just so like honest and like emotional and the quality. Both the music was great, like the lyrics. Her voice was incredible.
And she was Drake before Drake.
The sound was incredible. Like it had everything.
Yeah.
I think that was a complete album because it didn't lack in any particular area. You can't be like, oh, you know, I like the production, but I didn't really like her singing or the music, or I didn't like the beats because like everything was fine.
Everything slapped. Yeah, yeah. And then she just has some bona fide songs that will literally endure the rest of time.
Yeah.
Nothing even matters with D'Angelo. You're never getting rid of that song.
Yeah.
The X Factor. You're never getting rid of that.
What is
song.
it? Zion.
Zion.
Yeah.
It's
it called Zion.
Zion. She has a song. Yeah, Zion.
And it's like, here's how good those songs are. You can like, you know, people have done a million covers of Nothing Even Matters, right? And in any genre, whether you do a country version, you do like an alternative version, you might like do something a little bit more like full, like whoever's singing it,
Yeah.
it's gonna be good because the lyrics are so good.
Yeah.
As soon as you catch the melody in that tempo,
It's
you're
over.
set.
It's a wrap. Yeah, I don't think they can really do the same thing with movies, though. I don't think you can capture the same note with movies like you can with certain songs, because I think movies, they're too visual. Or
Yeah.
like literally, that's their form factor, right? They're visual. But I think it's different when you can see some shit. Like it's different when you're talking about if I'm not even aware of like the original. Like so, for instance, Scarface, right? Scarface is a remake. I have no concept of the original, so I couldn't even fucking tell you
Yeah.
what the fuck that shit looked like, right? But I know that shit with Al Pacino slapped, right?
I mean, this is the conversation. Like, what would you, and we've had this conversation before. I know my clear answer. It's like, what would you pick? Like, movies or music? Like, if you had to get rid of one, for me, I'm always going to get rid of music.
No.
I'm sorry, I'm always going to get rid of movies because the music
I couldn't
is
disagree more.
more timeless.
No, I couldn't disagree
Wholeheartedly
more.
disagree.
Yeah, because you can encompass both in movies, whereas you can't encompass both in music.
To get rid of music, and like the only time you could ever really hear music was in a movie. Like, no, I could sit and listen.
That's almost my preferable way to consume music. Is
Let me ask you this,
I could sit
Arain.
and listen to an album 10 times more than I could. Like, I could listen to the same album over and over again more so than I could watch the same movie over and over again.
Yeah, I fundamentally disagree. Yeah,
Fair enough.
Yeah, but think of it like this, Arain. Like you listen to a song, all right, you're listening to it. You're just sitting down listening to it, not watching anything, just listening to a song. You can picture the lyrics. You can see, if you potentially saw the music video, you can see the album cover, you can see the artist, just all within your head. You can, envision all the passion. Watch a movie without sound. Are you picturing the song?
Fuck.
You're not.
Yeah, so
Are
a
you-
movie is not good without sound or music. But a song,
that's-
you can have a song without a movie.
No. You can have a song without a movie, but what I'm saying is, movies encompass both, meaning
Yeah.
that it's the best of both worlds. So that I can do without listening to, a Jay-Z song. But if you put a Jay-Z song into like a show or a movie, I'm gonna watch that same scene 1,000 fucking times and enjoy it every single
Yeah,
time.
but if
Because of the
outside of that
song.
movie, if you could not ever listen to music again, that's an easy no for me.
No, fair enough. And I'm not even like. Obviously, it's a
Yeah,
it's
this
point
is a
of-
subjective thing. There's no right answer.
It's a point of opinion or taste. But yeah, watching something to me, and especially having the corresponding music with it, I don't know if there's a more powerful combo in this universe. But I know that watching, even if I grant you music videos suck. I'm just going to throw that out there. I couldn't tell you
What?
I couldn't tell you
Who
the
did
last
was it?
music video.
It wasn't Jaquan. Chingy's Tip Drill. That was a great music video.
That was Nelly, but
no, that was Chingy. Tip Drill.
Tip Drill was Nelly.
No, I think Tip Drill. Let's see. I'm pretty sure that was Chingy.
Nelly.
Song by Nelly. Oh, you're right.
I know my
Yeah,
tip drill.
Chingy's like main debut album was like what, Jackpot, and I think you're talking about like Tipsy from Jay Quan.
The fact
like,
that
back
you
in the
were
day.
able to recite that very fast
sorry.
scares me. That's terrifying. Holy shit.
I had a
Damn,
good-
how
I had
much
a good
Chingy
upbringing.
have you lived or listened to in your life? Fuck. Yeah. Anywho, I think that movies are unique in that they can evoke something in you that I think music can do. Music can inspire. You can sing along in your car, but I think that's just ease of access, meaning that it's just easy for you to put a song on. It's easy for you to skip to this track, to do this, to do that with the music. You can manipulate it more, right? But I think movies, at least to me, are much more. They have much more meaning because visually you're able to convey something. Like think of it how easy it is, and some songs are obviously easier to write than others, but it's easier even to just even construct a song versus a movie that you think of how do you build like a really fucking good movie. You build the story, you know? Whereas a song, look, I love Coldplay. I don't know what the fuck Chris Martin's talking about 70% of the time. I have no idea what he's talking about. Sounds like he's on fucking acid.
For sure. I just think that like one can exist without the other entirely. The other cannot exist without, like, movies cannot exist without good music or good sounds, right? Music doesn't need movies. A great, like the Miseducation of Lauryn Hill is just a great album. I could listen to it with my eyes closed and just picture the shit in my head, and that's good enough, right? I'll be listening to that next year, 10 years from now, 20 years from now. But like, you know, a movie, imagine like your favorite movie, but you got to remove the music from it. It's fucking terrible. It's just people doing shit.
Okay, so you're saying a movie, but literally all music is gone
now,
from it?
I will still give you, you know, movie, keep the music, but like, let's say outside of watching a movie, you cannot ever listen to music again.
No, I would choose a movie.
You would choose a movie?
Yeah.
Fair enough. I just think that like for me, you know, the fact that music can stand on its own without film, that says it right there. And on top of that, if I would much rather listen to the same album over and over again. Like 10 times, I could listen to the same album. Like
what if you couldn't
Nipsey Hussle or Kevin Gates, Luca Brasi 3, I could listen to that once a week.
To bring them in the same sort of sphere, what if you couldn't interact with the music that you do now, where you can just pop it on anytime you want? What if you could only interact with it like you watch a movie, that you had to sit down and you had to like interact with it during that time? Like there was only like a special like player that you could listen to this music on, and you had to listen.
Well,
to
in
it.
that case, then the movie's better because it's like visual and it's all audio, right?
Yeah.
In that very specific instance.
No. I think that proves my point. That I'm saying is it's the mechanism in which you're able, like, meaning that you could throw on your favorite song whenever you want. You're not able, you can't be on fucking. Well, I guess you can now because of smartphones. But you know, it probably wouldn't be prudent to be on fucking 95 watching Interstellar.
Yeah. Watching fucking Fast and Furious, like you're not him, you're not Toretto, you're gonna fucking kill us all.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen somebody watching a movie or a show? What is the crazy? And we can get out of here after this. I gotta wrap up. What is the craziest thing you've seen somebody doing while driving?
I think, and I might be just making this up. I might be making it up, but I think I've seen somebody like clipping their toenails. While driving.
I've seen somebody, it's not the craziest, but I've seen someone, this chick, she was painting her toenails while driving. Like, of all the times you needed to paint your toenails, why on 95 North?
No, and I think even crazier is seeing somebody put makeup on, because you explicitly are not looking at the
Especially
road.
if it's like eyeshadow or eyeliner or like, you know,
where you need to like close one.
Yeah.
But even not, you're still looking at the thing. Like, it's different. Like, so my partner, like, all the time when we're like going somewhere, she might put on her makeup in the car, but I'm driving the car, right?
Yeah.
So she can, you know, be in a passenger seat. But putting on your makeup as you're whipping a fucking car in any scenario is utter insanity.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy.
That's
I don't know how people
fucking
do it.
crazy. Now, I do wild shit, though. I'm not going to lie to you. I do some wild shit.
While driving?
Yeah.
Like what?
Eating. Usually,
everyone does
usually
that.
it centers
Yeah.
around eating. I usually
The shit everyone does,
eating
it's not that
sushi
wild to
as
me.
you're trying.
Now, if you're eating like fucking ramen while driving, now you're just eating pho. You had this grill set up right there. And you're cooking the meat. That's just insane. If you were rolling your own sushi. But the craziest thing I've seen someone doing while driving, bro was reading a book while driving, and it wasn't a Tesla. No, sorry, it wasn't a book.
It was a Grand
And I remember
Mercury.
because I was like, yo, what the fuck? And he was legit. It was a magazine, not a book. I'm pretty sure he was reading like People magazine or something like that. And like
he just couldn't wait. It
I'll
was a
never
riveting.
forget it.
It was a
like,
riveting edition.
It was like this older white guy. He was in like a light blue, like a powder blue colored Volkswagen Beetle.
Yeah.
Right. So it's all right. I mean, this guy's already gay, right?
Well,
I mean, also,
which is fine.
You can also tell by what he was wearing. He was definitely a gay man driving this car. I'm not saying that to be like, oh, look at it. Come on, it's clear.
Get to the point, yes.
and it's a Volkswagen Beetle powder blue. Come on. Anyway, so he's reading.
Sometimes you only got enough money for what you
he's
got
reading
enough money
People
for.
magazine, but I'm like, who's Taylor Swift dating now? That is like, I need to read this right now on the highway. Yeah, that's so important for you to put your life and everyone's life in danger.
But is that really that different? I guess the actual idea. Did he have two hands on the magazine or just one hand?
I think he was doing the knee thing.
Where he was on the knee and he was reading
both hands were on the magazine, just doing the knee thing.
Wait, how's that even? How's he steering?
He's not. He's steering with your knees. You never drive.
That's pretty gross.
Or with your like legs. You never like.
As you say that as if somebody who's actually tried it before.
You've done it? I mean, I do it, but I don't do it while... I do it if I'm smoking a blunt or something like that. I might, but I'm not going to read People magazine. At least my eyes are still on the road, even if I'm driving with my knee. I'm not reading a magazine and driving with my knees. That's double danger.
Yeah. This podcast is over. I can't have somebody immediately. This guy's disgusting. He's a disgusting individual. Also, I do the same exact thing. So
everyone drives with the knee sometimes for a little bit.
No,
what? You always drive 10 and 2?
Why are you asking that as if it's like a foreign idea?
Do you drive with two hands on the wheel?
Sometimes, yeah.
Fucking weirdo. Two hands on the wheel.
You know what? This circles back perfectly with how I open with people try to paint themselves as the heroes. Now, my position is the actual correct position of how to drive a fucking car. Yet you somehow turned it into you're the hero for I drive on my knee, so I'm the good guy here.
It's a different
get the fuck out of here.
Level of
podcast
skill.
Over. All right,
different level of
run
skill.
the fucking outro. Get the fuck out of here. This guy. Holy shit! You see why didn't the fucking
don't ask me, man.
The intro. All right. Yeah. Until the next time, ladies and gentlemen, the usual protocol.
Fade out.
Fade the fuck out. We'll see you guys later.